Does your anxiety or OCD get hooked into nausea and feeling sick? You're not alone. We're going to talk all about it. Stay tuned. That's what's up next. Hi, my name is Natasha Daniels. I'm a therapist. I make videos for people with anxiety or OCD. And today I want to talk to you about something that impacts both anxiety and OCD, depending on how it shows up. And that's feeling sick. In particular, feeling nauseous. Is that you? Does that play a role in your anxiety or OCD? Well, that's not surprising because one, you're not alone. It's so common to have nausea as part of your problem. I'm going to explain why. For anxiety, a lot of times when we're anxious, unrelated to the fear of throwing up, when we're getting anxious, our body does a whole bunch of stuff to protect us, including slowing down our digestion so that we can get ready to fight the bear that's not actually there, right? So that we can prepare for the emergency that's not happening. And so our body does a lot of stuff to protect us, to put everything on pause so that we can get ready to fight this imaginary, unnecessary fight in our body. And that can make you feel a little nauseous because it can give you a little bit of a sour stomach. So when you feel nauseous because you're anxious, for some people, that turns into a theme in and of its own. And so now I'm actually worried that I'm going to get nauseous and I'm worried that I might get sick. And the scary and annoying and frustrating thing is there's a cycle that happens with feeling sick. And so when you're anxious, you feel nauseous. Sometimes as we progress, or sometimes it just starts this way for you, that you feel nauseous because you're anxious, but you don't even realize that you're anxious. You feel the sour stomach, but there's nothing that was registering in the brain, in your thoughts. So you feel the nausea and then you get anxious about it. Oh my gosh, I feel sick. What does this mean? Am I going to get sick? Am I going to throw up? I can't go to this thing because what if this happens or that happens? Or what if I'm going to, right? What if? And then you get more worried. And when we get more worried, our body thinks that we need to kind of prepare for this emergency again. And so we feel more nauseous. And then we hyper focus on that. And we say, oh my gosh, I'm feeling worse, not better. And so we get more anxious. And then we get more nauseous. Do you see this vicious cycle? And so that can happen in a lot of areas. Our body is very suggestible. And in my family, a lot of us, many of us in my family struggle with emetophobia, the fear of throwing up. And if somebody near me says they feel nauseous, I will instantly feel nauseous myself. And it's legit. Like when you feel this, you feel it. And it's hard to tell the difference between this and a stomach virus because in your body, it's the same. It feels the same. So when people say it's in your head, no, it's actually in your stomach and it's legitimate. It's just what caused that. That's the part. And I know there's no way I can get a stomach virus that fast, so intellectually, I know there's no way I could literally feel sick this fast, but my brain can tell my body and my stomach feel nauseous. And then boom, there it is. Then I can get worried about it. And that cycle starts, right? I'm getting worried about it. Oh no, what does this mean? What if it means I have a stomach virus? And now I'm feeling more nauseous, which confirms my fears. And then the vicious cycle continues. This also happens to people who have health issues related to nausea. My daughter, my youngest daughter, has celiac disease. And she legitimately gets nauseous sometimes because of stuff that she eats. She has a very sensitive stomach. Pretty sure she has IBS as well, irritable bowel syndrome. And she also has emetophobia. Those are all real. They can all exist at the same time. You can have OCD around something that actually is legitimate. And so she might feel nauseous because of a health issue, but then her anxiety and her OCD hold on to that and say, oh my gosh, I don't want to get sick. And I have gotten sick legitimately because of celiac and IBS. And so what if I get sick now? And that anxiety actually produces more nausea. And then the cycle continues. So for her, she's had to learn how to break through that cycle and sit with the discomfort of feeling nauseous and not fuel the fire. Just say, you know what, I can handle this. If I get sick, I get sick. Let me distract myself. Let me refocus my attention to not fuel the anxiety, because the more you fuel it, the more nauseous you get. And you can't 100% guarantee that you're not going to get sick. So that's another way it can show up. Another way that it can show up is with restrictive eating, and a lot of times with ARFID, avoidant restrictive food intake disorder, where in that disorder, which is a co-occurring disorder with anxiety and OCD, sometimes people are worried about feeling nauseous, and so they stop eating or they restrict their eating. And then because we have that in our thoughts, we say, oh my gosh, I'm going to eat this little thing. And then before you know it, you feel so quote unquote full that you feel nauseous. Again, your brain and your thoughts are so suggestive that it goes to your stomach, because there's no way you can be full off of like 2 bites of whatever you're eating. And I've dealt with this in my home with my kids. One of my kids has ARFID, and recognizing that that sensation and those nauseous feelings are happening because of your thoughts and not because of an objective reality. Because the ultimate goal is to not get stuck in that circle, to get stuck in that cycle. So ask yourself, what is my anxiety wanting me to avoid? Ask yourself, what does my OCD want me to do? OCD is bossy. It might say, don't wear the green shirt. It might say, don't eat too much food. It might say, don't sit there or don't be near that person. OCD is bossy. Wash your hands, do different things. Anxiety is avoidance, right? Avoid whatever, so that, you don't avoid going to restaurants, avoid where you might have a problem, avoid certain foods, just so you can guarantee that nothing's going to happen. The trick is to get off that cycle and learn to accept the nausea. I totally get that that's hard, because I have been through this myself. And sometimes when I'm really anxious, I do get nauseous. And I say to myself, yep, I'm nauseous. Of course I'm nauseous. I'm anxious about this. And I'm not going to hyper focus on my stomach, even though that is so hard not to do. And I'm going to continue doing what I'm doing, because if I give into this and I start to feed it and grow it, I'm going to get more nauseous. And then it's going to become a thing. It's going to become a thing where I'm really worried about this feeling showing up all the time. And it can take over your life. And so to get the power back is to get off that cycle, that vicious cycle, and learn how to lean into acceptance. And that will look different for each one of you as far as what things you can do to help cope with those overwhelming feelings as you're going through them. Well, I hope that helps understand the cycle of nausea with anxiety and OCD. I'll be back next week with a whole new video. Take care and find the sparkle in everything you do.